When was the last time you stopped to take a look at your life and figure out what is working versus what's not working? Have you done it before? Some of us have, and some of us have not. And if you're in the have not category, do not fear. I am here, and I am going to tell you how you can apply a SWOT analysis onto your life to figure out what you can lean on and where you can grow. Now, I am in graduate school for marketing and communications, and I am applying SWOT analyses to so many different companies and brands, blah, 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 pretty much every other week. And so this stuff is at the top of my mind. And recently, I applied it to my own life, and I feel like it's really given me a lot of perspective on A, myself, B, where I want to go, and C, how I can do it. I want you to apply this to your life as well, because honestly, I've seen the benefit of doing it in my life and how it has inspired me on my day-to-day to figure out what I am doing well and to figure out what I'm not really doing well in, because let's be real, we all have our flaws. And I want you to learn the tools today to better your life by applying a SWOT analysis to yourself. If you're new here, my name is Makayla Morman, and I am the host of the To Be Known podcast, and your go-to girl when it comes to anything related to personal development in your 20s. Now, I'm on my own journey. We are all on our own journeys. I am not perfect, nor are you. But a little bit about me is that I work full time. I am a master's student. I'm the host of this podcast. And I also have a million other little passionate side quests in my life. And I am someone who is very passionate and tries to be as efficient as possible when it does come to how I spend my time. But I still have my weaknesses. And so I am going to show you what I applied to my life so that I can figure out where I want to go by leaning onto my strengths and by recognizing where I need to grow. Before we get any deeper into this episode, I want you to know that this is a very activity-based episode. I want you to be sitting down in front of a piece of paper or your notes app and be ready to list out all of the things and be able to take some intentional time to really think about this SWOT analysis and applying it to your life, because the only way that it's going to work is if you take it seriously, is if you take the time to really evaluate, look within, and spend 20 minutes doing a SWOT analysis on your life. It doesn't have to be any longer than that, because honestly, that means that you're thinking way too much and analyzing yourself way too much. But I just want you to take some intentional time to really do this right. Now let's talk about why you need a life audit. If you're still unfamiliar with what a SWOT analysis is, it's basically a practice that businesses use to better understand their position in the marketplace and see where they need to improve. They look at their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, their threats, and use all of that information to figure out their next move. You can do this too in your own life. You can evaluate where you are at right now in order to see where you want to go with your personal growth, your emotional growth, and even with your relationships. I want you to keep what I'm about to say next in mind for the rest of the episode. Self-awareness isn't just introspection. It is strategy. When you are conducting the SWOT analysis on your life, I want you to understand that this is you figuring out what the next best step is for you. If you truly want to develop as a person, you need to understand exactly where you are at right now. And a SWOT analysis helps you do that. It's not just about introspection. It's not just about the feelings that all of this evokes within you, looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. It's about understanding what you can do next in order to better yourself and your life. Remember, you can apply this to quite literally anything. If you want to apply a SWOT analysis to your friendships, your relationships with your parents, your relationship with work, relationship with your partner, you can also do that as well. Do I recommend doing that? Yeah. However, we are talking about doing this with yourself today. Be real with yourself throughout this practice. I want you to truly analyze who you are right now. Do not hold any past guilt for versions of yourself that you have outgrown. I want you to take a look at your life right now to see what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. Do not let past versions of you creep into the way that you are going to analyze yourself throughout the rest of this episode. It's time for us to dive into your strengths, which is technically the first step of the SWOT analysis. This section basically just means that you are going to realize your internal assets that you can always lean on. When you look at your weaknesses, when you look at your threats, I want you to always have your strengths in the back of your mind. Feel free to put pen to paper or to open up your notes app and list out your strengths. These can be relational, emotional, practical. These are the adjectives that describe who you are on a characteristic level, such as strong, such as resilient, kind. You know the values that you evoke as a person. Your strengths are what people consistently recognize you for, or the things that you consistently recognize within yourself. Think about the things that people compliment you on when it does come to your personality and how you show up in the world, what people thank you for, how people recognize you as a person. These are the things that you can lean on for your strengths. I want you to write down at least 5 strengths that you embody. And if you have trouble trying to figure out what your strengths are, feel free to reach out to a loved one, a friend, a parent, a sibling, your partner, and ask them what they think your strengths are. Honestly, this can be a really fun conversation between you guys to sort of understand what other people see in you when it does come to your strengths and your weaknesses. But feel free to reach out to your community if you need some better understanding of what your strengths are. When you are able to take a look at all of the strengths that you have as a person, it feels good. I mean, let's be real. It feels good when you are able to see what you embody that is good, that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel strong, that makes you feel like you are worth something. I feel like strengths really speak a lot to confidence and esteem. When you see all of these strengths, especially if you took the time to list them out, you can then look and see where these strengths apply to the different areas in your life, and honestly ground yourself by thinking of the activities or actions that you do that speak to these different strengths. What do you do on the day-to-day to bring up your compassion? What do you do on the day-to-day to bring up your resilience? What are the things that you do to maintain your strengths? When you recognize your strengths, it is not about arrogance. It's not about inflating your ego. It's just about data. It's about seeing what you can rely on within yourself in order to grow. Because if we don't have any strengths, if we cannot recognize any strength within us, what are we to do? We got to tone that muscle. We got to grow stronger. And if you feel like the strengths that you have written down are weak, you can grow them stronger with practice, with intention, by trying to do those activities that make you feel strong, that make you feel like you are a good person. Because remember, these are the characteristics that make us feel good about ourselves. These are our strengths. Before we move on to weaknesses, I want to ask you a question. If you leaned onto your strengths for 1 month, and you kept them at the top of your mind every single day, what doors do you think might open for you? You might have not really thought a lot about your strengths previously. You might have ignored them or taken them for granted. But when you see what they are and you allow your strengths to be a North Star for you, when you allow your strengths to be what brings you confidence and joy and resilience and strength within every day, you are able to live and lead such a better life for yourself. So I want you to keep that in mind as we move into weaknesses, because honestly, it can be rather hard for us to look at our weaknesses because it reminds us what we are not good at, what we might not feel capable for or about. Our weaknesses can make us feel so small. It can make us feel so unworthy that I want you to keep your strengths at the top of your mind. For every strength that you've written, I want you to write a weakness, because trust me, we can probably list 50 weaknesses of ours. Maybe, I don't know, that's probably a really high number, but you can list 10 weaknesses in your life. And I just want you to focus on those 10. I don't want you to go any farther than that, because let me tell you, that's a little bit too much. As we move in to finding your weaknesses, I want you to understand that this is just you trying to understand your blind spots. Our weaknesses are the parts of ourselves that we just haven't fully built up yet. They are not bad parts of us. They are just parts of us that we haven't spent enough time with. When you write down your list of 10 weaknesses, I want you to make sure that you are being honest with yourself while also still holding space to have compassion for yourself. Remember, these are the parts of you that you just need to work on. That's it. They're weaknesses. Why? Because you haven't strengthened the muscle quite yet. Weaknesses are the things that just slow down your worth. For example, perfectionism can keep you stuck. If you overextend yourself to others, you are thinning your energy for your own life. If you suffer from having bad boundaries with people, that just means that you need to have more boundaries for yourself. What is at the core of your weaknesses? That's what we're trying to figure out. I want you to ask yourself, what are the patterns that keep showing up in your life that you wish didn't? These are where your weaknesses lie, which in turn kind of lead to the threats going on in your life. I want you to be honest with yourself without feeling shameful about your weaknesses, because this auditing SWOT analysis is not about punishment, but it's about trying to understand. It's about trying to shed light on the parts of us that we might not be thinking about on the day-to-day, that this practice, this activity, this podcast episode is making you sit there and think about the different things in your life that either help you grow or hold you back. After you have your 10 weaknesses written down, we are going to switch gears and go back to the positive and see what the opportunities are in your life. These are the things that are within reach for you to achieve, for you to grab onto, that you see within the foreseeable future. These are your opportunities. Opportunities are external, situational factors in your life. When we are looking at opportunities in your life, I want you to shift your focus from inward to outward. So first we went in, now we're looking out. Now we are looking at the external or situational factors in our life that technically do have an effect on us, because our world is within and is also outside of us. Opportunities are the things that support your growth. They support your strengths. They make you feel better about the threats in your life or your weaknesses. Your opportunities make you feel excited. Opportunities can look like new skills that you are trying to gain. They can look like being in school and getting a degree. They can look like a new job that you have, or how you are spending your time, or a new community that you are a part of. They could look like moving to a new city. I don't know, but these are the opportunities that are going on in your life right now that make you feel like you are on the right path. Look at the people who are rooting for you in your life. They are opportunities. When you see the good people that you have in your life, those are opportunities for love, for connection, for joy. I want you to see that spending time with people who lift you up can be an opportunity in your life if you are in fact feeling down. Look at who's rooting for you. Look to see the things that you do in your day-to-day that make you feel aligned. What makes you light up? Where does your intuition show up? These things that you are writing down for your opportunities, these are small, tangible, realistic things that you can spend your time doing in order to improve your life. What feels right for you? That is an opportunity. I know that we got through opportunities and that it's super positive when you look at the things that make you feel good in your life that you are excited about. But with that being said, we also have to go to the other side of the coin and face your threats. There are a lot of threats that we can feel in our own life that we need to understand what they are in order to move forward, in order to push past, in order to see the role that they play in our life. Some examples of threats can be our fears, toxic relationships, financial stress, or burnout. Maybe you are in a toxic work environment. I don't know, but you know, probably deep down or even top of mind right now, what the threats are in your life, the things that are holding you back. I want you to write out every single threat that you see in your life. I know I said 3 to 5 opportunities, but write out all of the threats that you have in your life right now. The threats in your life are what consistently derails you or keeps you from feeling like your fullest self? Are they habits, people, a lack of a job, your current job, your relationship, your living situation, whatever it is? Be honest with yourself. What are the things that are holding you back from showing up as the best version of yourself, to yourself, as well as to the other people in your life? You need to understand what the threats are in your life, because knowing your threats helps you prepare with how to deal with them instead of fearing them and letting them control your life. When you recognize what it is that is holding you back right now, you can use that data to see what you need to do in order to launch forward. Now that you have gone through the entire SWOT analysis of yourself and where you are currently at in your life, I want you to evaluate everything. See how it all sort of plays together, because when you see all of this written down, you can pinpoint how these things affect each other. And I want you to figure out what you can do each day for the next 2 weeks to lean on those things. What's one act a day that you can do to strengthen your strengths? What's one act a day that you can do to step further into that opportunity? I want you to think about this as a way forward rather than how you are going to hold yourself back, rather than punishing yourself for your weaknesses and for the threats that you have in your life. Your life is your choice. It is your journey at the end of the day. And if you want to do what is best for you, then you have to figure out where you're at in order to know where to go next. And for me, it's really helped me just sort of figure out and narrow my scope on where I want to go in life, because there's so many things that I want to do and want to be, and so many ways that I want to spend my time, but time is finite. We all know that there's only 24 hours in a day, but by doing this analysis on my life, I feel like I've gotten to know myself better, and I've gotten to know who I want to become even better. And I hope that through this practice, by taking this time for yourself, by taking a look within, that it's going to help you figure out where you want to go in the future. We want to be proud of ourselves in 20, 40 years from now. And I think by living intentionally and just doing things that the higher version of ourselves would be proud of today, I don't know, I feel like that's a really good way to live. And that's how I try to live every single day. You might know this already, but you can't change what you don't fully understand. And this is how you can fully know yourself. And that's the whole reason why I made this podcast, because I feel like we all deserve to have such an intimate connection with ourselves as well as other people. And we're all here to be loved, to be known, to be seen by others. And you have to do the same thing for yourself before you can expect other people to. And that's my philosophy. As someone who always wants to show up as the best version of myself with everyone that I come across, some days I do a great job. Other days I don't. But I do think that conducting the SWOT analysis has just really opened my eyes to who I am as a person and who I want to be next. And I hope that it does the same thing for you. If you liked today's episode, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, please give this episode a 5-star review. Feel free to follow me on Instagram or TikTok at @ToBeKnownPod. All of my social links will be in the description below. I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Honestly, it was so fun sort of just doing the SWOT analysis with you all and helping you apply it to your own life. I hope that today's episode resonated with you. If it did, please leave a comment down below. I really, really love reading your guys' comments when people do comment. With all that being said, stay true to you. Bye.